Hi everybody, Jess-c here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. It's Stamp Stash Saturday, so I pulled out two stamp sets that I actually just got in the mail a couple of days ago, and they're both from Plus9, so one is You're a Big Deal and the other is Big Deal Editions. I did cut out all of those stamps and things. That's just the mask laying there so I can figure out where I want to place things. That's not where it ends up, but you know, it all just kind of happens as it goes. I am doing tons and tons of masking and layering, and there's just a pile of images in this card, so I use the sleeve of my sweater too so that I can rub on it easy and my hand doesn't stick to the plastic. I don't know, I think lots of people do. I just find it simpler, so I always am like, and if I'm not wearing a sweater, I'll grab like a piece of paper towel or one of my rags that I use for watercoloring, because I like to use rags because I can wash them out and then I'm not throwing things away. I know it's odd. Lots of people just use paper towel. Do you? I don't. Watercolors are irrelevant. I'm coloring with Copics in this video, so there will be tons of coloring. As you can see, the masking takes a very long time, and I did tons of it. So I do cut out in between layering, so you don't see me actually lay the masks down. The little stand here stamps a little low, and I had to fix that in the end, and you'll see that in the picture or the clip at the end of the video of the finished card, how I kind of added a little bit to that stand in order to fix the gap between the hippo and the little stand that he's standing on. I love this stamp set. It is the most adorable thing I have ever seen. I'm all about florals, and Plus9 does amazing florals. But this stamp set was just like all these critters at the circus. I need to color these. So I picked up both sets. He doesn't stamp very well. Now that's because normally before I do a card like this, I have stamped all of my images to make their masks. And I didn't make his mask first, and I should have, because you can see how on the mask he stamped way better. And that's simply just seasoning the stamps. I usually stamp them once, or I have like one of those glue erasers that I use to rub over the top, just because sometimes there's a little bit of a film on clear stamps from the manufacturing process, and I just find after you use them once, they stamp way better. So I did use a little bit of Distress ink here just to create some soft color in the background of the card. I didn't want to do like a full-blown coloring scene in the background, but I wanted to add a little bit of pink and purple back here just to give it a little bit of life so it wasn't quite so white and stark in the background. So we're going to get all this filled out. I know that I'm super late with Stamp Stash Saturday, like it's Sunday where some of y'all are, but to be perfectly honest, I worked today, which I don't normally do on Saturdays, and I usually have these videos done like 3 days prior, but I worked today, and then I got home and I was hanging out with my son, and I don't know how many of you guys follow the news or follow sports, but I live in Saskatchewan, and there was a terrible accident with a hockey team and a semi, and it was just disastrous. And I know that I personally didn't know any of these like kids. We're talking 16 to 21-year-old kids and their coaches, but it's still like that too close for comfort thing. You're talking like 2.5 hours away from me. We have a hockey team in the city that is in the same league as these guys. It's just crazy. Those poor kids. I'm not even going to talk about it. So anyway, we're going to start coloring everything in now. I did try to do all of one color at a time. So like I did both of the stars. Now I'm going to do the blue on the bottom. And I go through like that, and I kind of color every section that I want in those specific colors in as I'm going. I tend to like to color that way. I don't know. It just means I have less markers laying all over my table at one time, because once I'm finished with them, I usually will throw them back in my Copic bag. So just the way I do it. I am trying to give this a little bit of a circular dimension here by making it darker on the outside and lighter as we kind of come in, so it gives it a little bit of a rounded shape. I enjoy it. I'm not sure what to talk about. Wow. I have not very much for stories, except for the fact that, okay, so I'm on my way home from work today. I started work at like 6:30 this morning, and I think we finished up at about 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon. I got home, and my son phones me, and I was like, I don't know, a couple minutes outside of the small little town I live in. I live in like a town of 400 people in the middle of Saskatchewan. Well, it's not the middle. It's like the southeastern corner. But anyway, irrelevant. I live in a small little town, and my son phones me. He's with my dad, so he phones me from his papa's phone, and he's like, Mom, where are you? And I'm like, I'm 2 minutes out of town. Like, I will be right there. Why? What's up? And he goes, nothing. Just hurry your chicken noodle soup up and get here. And I'm like, what do you mean my chicken noodle soup? I said, I'm north of your last noodle. And he almost died. He thought it was hilarious. So, so that was my entertainment. So then he told me to drive really, really fast. So I slowed down by 5 kilometers an hour just to prolong his misery. Then I get to the house and he wasn't even ready to go yet. He's like, I want to stay. And I'm like, so why'd you phone me to hurry up? Anyway, so that was his funny for the day, because he's ridiculous and says things like chicken noodle soup, which I'm not even sure where it came from. The kid won't eat soup. I cannot get that kid to eat soup for the life of me. Yet he goes to Nana and Papa's, or he goes to my grandmother's house, or he goes to my sister's house, and he'll eat soup, and he'll eat peas, and he'll eat beans, and he'll eat all sorts of things that he won't eat at home. And I've even made these things and know he eats them elsewhere and have left them on his plate, and he won't eat them. He will sit there for 3 hours. I'm not eating peas. I don't like peas. I'm not eating soup. Mom, I'm going to go hungry. I don't want this. Can I have some crackers? Can I have anything but soup? Caleb, that's what's for supper. You have to eat it. So he'll have 3 bites and he'll be like, I'm good till breakfast tomorrow morning. So I'm completely defeated, because if I make it and tell him he has to eat it, because I know he eats it elsewhere, he refuses. And then he just goes hungry till morning. And that's not exactly the nicest thing in the world to do to the poor kid. But I've tried that. So don't give me that as a tidbit of advice to try with him, because apparently he's stubborn like me and it just doesn't work. So you can see how, back to where we are, when I move my hand away and you guys can see the hippo again, you can see how his feet are over top and he's not actually standing on that platform. So I do kind of draw it in at the end. I forgot to film that part, but you will see it, like I said, on the finished picture. It just kind of makes it look a little crooked, or you can see the rounded top slightly. My coffee pot's turning off. Yes, I am drinking coffee at 9:30 at night. Why? I'm not really sure, but we are. Probably why I'm talking so fast. Slow it down and take a step back, Jess-c. So when I get through I gave our little panda bear here just a little bit of shading. I know lots of the times when I see pandas, pictures of real life pandas, they're kind of that gray browny color because they're dirty. And I wanted to give him a little bit of shape with shading instead of just leaving him the stark white of the paper. So we did that, and now we're going to work on our lions. I do kind of work on them in sections. I do this guy's body and then his face. And then I go over and do the other lion at the same time, just because, like I said, I have those markers out, so I might as well color everything that's going to be that color, because I might as well make the lines the same color. I really enjoyed this card, you guys. I think this is super cute. I didn't put the sentiment on it. Actually, I don't have a sentiment on it at all. And I think I'm just going to stamp something on the inside, because all these little guys look so happy, and they take up so much of the card front that I don't want to have to pop a banner across it or something. So I'm probably going to pull one of the sentiments. Sorry, I'm just grabbing the stamp sets here. Pull one of the sentiments, the birthday sentiments, out of this and stamp it on the inside. Something like, it's your birthday. Hope it's a wild one. Haha. It's your birthday and you're kind of a big deal. And then I can send it to myself on my birthday, because I'm kind of a big deal. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Okay, I really don't think that of myself. I just thought it was funny. Not funny, Jess-c. You don't have a great sense of humor. Anywho, so I know videos have been kind of sporadic, and I'm really hoping that will get better. I worked, counting today, I worked 53 hours in the last week at, the job that pays the mortgage and the car payment and keeps power on and internet and all that fun stuff that I need to pay for because I've committed to paying for them, that kind of a thing. Not necessarily a necessity of life, but, right, I signed a contract that said, I'll pay you back for the house and I will pay you for the car, kind of a deal. So, yeah, I guess apparently, responsibilities, adulting's tons of fun. So we're getting his little face colored up, and then we will move on and do their manes. I really enjoyed this combination, throwing that E99 in there, and then this Y26 really kind of browned up that goldy, yellowy, orange color I was after and dulled it down just a little bit. I think they're super cute. I'm super happy with this card. It just makes me smile. I think it's tons of fun. So now I'm doing, I took that purple and just filled in where I didn't fussy cut out like in between his mane and his tail. So I just used that color to fill in where the ink blending didn't take. And my hand is in the way. But I'm just doing little flicks of the dark color coming out from his head, and I'm not coming back from the other side just because the space is so small. I didn't want to fill it all in with the really dark color, so I just did it from the one side instead of both sides. I think it still works out and it looks super cute. And it does look furry, like hair, like fur, because it is fur, Jess-c. It is fur. Yes. Anyway. I'm enjoying doing Stamp Stash Saturday. Like, I know I've missed one or two along the way since I've started it, but I thoroughly enjoy pulling out whatever stamp set I want out of my stash and making something. Be it one I just bought like today, or one I've used a couple of times in the past, or something I've had in my stash forever. I'm just really enjoying using my stuff. And this Saturday, Stamp Stash Saturdays are really helping me to keep that up. And I mean, I make a ton of cards in a month. If you guys watch any of like I do monthly share videos now where on like the first of the month I show everything I made for the previous month. Oops, I hit the table. I hope that wasn't too loud. I show because I talk with my hands, even though nobody can see me talking. Anyway, random thought, tangent, back to where I wasn't. I show everything I made for the past month, and like last month I made 28 or 27 cards or something like that. So I do make a lot in a month, but I really it's not a design team project. It's not something I promised somebody or company I would make. It's not something somebody asked me to make. These videos are 100% what I want to make, be it a company I designed for, a company I have guested for, stamp sets that were sent to me, etc., etc. They are what I personally want to do. It's not a stamp set I committed to doing, right? So, like I said, I purchased these, and I think they're the cutest things in the entire world. Like, I'm so going to have to do more. I want to do, like, pink lions and blue hippos and, you know, all kinds of ridiculous colors, and then make, like, the tent and the ball or a couple of other elements in it and make them the neutrals instead of the animals being the neutral color. I think it would be fun, something a little different. Might have to try that. We'll keep that in the back of my mind. Can't promise it will happen anytime soon. But I really love Plus9 Images. I do have a couple of their floral stamp sets downstairs that I've had for a long time, and I will probably be pulling them out because that's kind of the way my brain works. I buy something and I'm like, oh, I have to use it, and I do actually use it when I first get it instead of, you know, filing it with everything else and being like, I'll get to it eventually. I gave up on having like a box of stamps that I haven't used because there was just too many in there. So I don't buy as much as I used to either, but I digress. So we're working on the tent now. Let's get back to talking about coloring. So I started by doing the red, and I just did these two pieces, and I was like, hang on, I should do the white first. Well, I guess it does read as gray, but whatever. I didn't keep it light enough, but that's okay. But I should do that first because I'm going to end up picking that red up into the other color. Then I'm going to make a mess. So I come back in with my ends here, and I'm going to do all of the shading on the white/gray parts of the image. I guess I don't know. Anyway, on those parts of the images first, and then I'll come back in with the red and finish coloring that in. It just saved me from having like a bunch of red streaks in my finished artwork or my finished card front, because reds tend to be able to be pulled into other colors really, really easy. They're a finicky color to work with. They can bleed. They definitely transfer a lot easier. Red pigment in any form is one of the hardest, most difficult ones to use and get used to. So I try to leave them for the end when I'm done kind of anything that touches it. That'll touch that red so that I don't pull it into other colors. Like I wouldn't have wanted to do it before I colored the lion or things of that nature. It's kind of the way my brain works, only because when I color red first, I make a mess and then I have to start over. And when you've done this much masking, you don't want to start over, because that's not a fun time. Ask me how I know this. Okay, no, don't, because we all know the answer to that question, but yeah. So now I'm going to go back through and finish up all the red on our little tent here. And we're getting close to the end. We just have the ball and the stand and the little trapeze bar to finish up. And that'll be the end of the card. So we're getting close. This card took me, I think it was like 56 minutes of footage I had. So it was about an hour to do everything. Now, I did cut all of the masks, aside from the panda, prior to filming. So that does take out some of the time. But I enjoy doing it, and I don't find an hour uber long to make a card. And I do get lots of times told that I'm fast, and I do find that I'm pretty speedy at making cards. It honestly just comes from doing lots of it. Like I said previously, I make somewhere around 30 cards every month. That's a lot of cards, considering I work like full-time and this isn't my job. As much as it would be so cool to be able to earn enough money to pay all my bills making cards, that ain't in my forecast anytime soon. And anybody that tells you that they're making a fortune making cards, most of us aren't. This is my hobby. This is what I do to chill out in the evening when Caleb's in bed or when he wants nothing to do with me because he's 8 and he's playing with his friends. He's like, Mom, you're not cool. And I'm like, I'm so cool. I'm the coolest, Caleb. And he's like, no, Mom. No, you're not. And then I crack some sort of a dad joke because single parent, well, I have a boyfriend, but he's not Caleb's father. So anyway, single parent-ish type person. I get to make the dad jokes, and I think dad jokes are hilarious. So I kind of tend to tuck them in anytime I can. That's how we work. This has been this color I'm doing now, all this pink, has been my favorite pink combination since I picked up these markers. I find it very, very bright, but it's not, there was a hair on the paper. That's what I was doing there. It's very bright, but it's not fluorescent. Like I did pick up the what are they? The 09 series of markers. So it's like 09, 04. Oh, there's 06. I'm looking at my marker bag. But when I color them, they're very neon. They're super pretty. I love them. I think they're gorgeous. But they don't always fit in with everything else because they're way brighter than most of the other colors that I choose to color with. So I tend to kind of leave them to the side. So we're just finishing up our ball here, and then we have a little bit to do on our trapeze. Oh, and the dots. And the dots. Don't forget the polka dots. I love polka dots. Polka dots are fun. If it wasn't for the fact that I paint houses for a living, and I know how hard it is to get rid of like tape edges or take vinyl decals off of a wall and how much it destroys the wall, I would so put polka dots on the feature wall in my master bedroom because I think it would be so fun. So fun. Adding the pinks into the ears. We're just kind of wrapping everything up now. Oh, I start outlining this and then I realize that I didn't color the trapeze. So I'm going to color the trapeze. And then I'm going to cut out, because I don't show you guys the entire outlining of the image, because my hand's in the way from holding the pen super vertically. But I do fill everything in, including the panda, and you can see how much better he looks now that he's black. Like I said, if I would have stamped him second, it would have been better. Taking out my white jelly roll pen to add a little bit of white details, and that's it for today's Stamp Stash Saturday. I do hope you guys enjoy these videos. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy watching them. I truly appreciate that. It helps my channel out a ton. If you have any questions or comments or anything, shoot them down below. I do read everything. I can't necessarily always respond. If you aren't subscribed, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.